So here I'm going to demonstrate the stopping, how the tire moves around. Did you see how that worked? Let me back up. And let me go forward. And you hear that noise also. And the steering wheel kind of jerks also. So that's how you know you got bad bushings. So here are the parts I'll be installing. These are the control arms. And then these would be the ball joints. I've got these on Amazon. And it even comes with these here, which is pretty nice. I haven't checked them to see if they're the right parts, so hopefully they are. Everything works out. It looks like good stuff, so I'll leave a link as long as everything works good. But let's get started and put this stuff in. All right, so I got the car up in the air. I got the jack stands underneath. I used 3. One's actually holding the car up. The 2 are just extra safety precautions. It's really stable on the jack. All right, and then on this side, the same thing. I got the jacks there. I got a light underneath. I'll show you what I need to take out first. So I need to remove the ball joint. We need to remove this cotter pin out of this nut. And we need to remove that nut. These 3 bolts here hold the ball joint onto the control arm. This bolt here holds the control arm onto the subframe. And then back here, right there, that bolt holds the control arm onto the subframe. So those are all the bolts we need to take out, and let's get started. So let's get this cotter pin out. Just gonna kind of grab it, pull it up, take some dikes. And there we go. Let's remove the nut. There is enough room to get a 19mm wrench in there. Let's try this again with that. There we go. Okay, so we got that loose. We'll use the open end here to undo it. It actually looks like it's finger tight. So let's see what we can do here. Not quite enough room to pull it all the way out. So now we gotta bust the knuckle loose. So I have the pickle fork and a nice big hammer. Let's go ahead and see if we can get that knocked off. All right, looks like that's loose. Next, we'll remove these 17mm nuts off the ball joint. Hopefully this will take care of it. There's 1, 2, 3. That was easy enough. Put those aside. All right, if you look at that, I can just actually take that off. So if you were only doing ball joints right now, you would basically be done with your ball joints. Then you would just pop them back up. But we're doing the whole control arm here. So let's remove that control arm now. Now we're gonna remove the control arm bolt in the front. We're gonna use the same setup, except we're gonna use a 19mm here. So that came out easy enough. So let's remove the last one. Holds on here. I believe there's a nut on the top of it. Here's the nut on top that's moving around. I can actually loosen it with my hand. There we go, nuts off. Pull that out so we don't lose it. There we go. They're all out. All right, so now we're going to remove the control arm. It's all ready to go. Let me get under here. Well, I was hoping it would just fall out, but it doesn't look like it's going to just fall out. So here's a screwdriver to help it. All right, so we got that out. There we go. It's coming. So now this one's all busted out here. And then, like the new one's looking good. And the old one's looking bad. See the difference? And I think the other side's actually worse. And then this one, this portion actually looks okay. And I just want to make sure everything lines up here. As far as it's all good. So that lines up, and that lines up. So it looks like the right parts. All right, so now we're gonna put on the control arm, but I'm gonna give you a big old tip here. So down here, when this was put on before, with the bolt, it went up here and it compressed everything together. So trying to put the control arm in now is going to be really, really tough. So what we want to do, get yourself a big pry bar and a 19mm socket. And go ahead and just put it in here, preferably before you put some lube in there, because what you're going to want to do is just lube everything up so everything slides in good, and clean it up, get all the rust out, and put a little anti-seize on there. This here is what I used on there, some anti-seize, but you should bend it before you do that. I made a mistake here. So put your socket in there, come up with your screwdriver, and what you want to do is just kind of lift up on it. Bend it a little bit, bend it back up. That's all you need to do. Now, when you go to put this in, it should slide in a little bit better. Look at that. I'm using my hand to get that thing in there. So we're just going to put our 19 millimeter here. And do the same thing, just kind of bend it out a little bit. That way it's just a little bit easier to install. See how that moved just a little bit? And that's all we needed, was a little bit. So let's see if we can go ahead and get this in. So that wants to go in, and that'll want to go in. Probably use this right now. There we go. So we got that up. Just need to put on the nut on the top now. All right, so the nut's on. Put a little robot there. Shove it in. That one's tight. Put the 19 millimeter wrench on the top to hold it. Tighten it up. I'll torque these once everything's put in, but right now we're just going to leave them tight. So now we put the ball joint on. All right, so our new ball joint here came with a new nut and a packet of new bolts, even with the new cotter key. So that's what we'll use. Go ahead and put it in there. I'm going to use the new nuts here. One, two. I ran into a little hiccup here. So with this on, this bolt will not go in, and if you can see right there, it wasn't drilled properly. So I need to grind just a little bit off of this so I can get that bolt started. Otherwise I'm going to cross thread it, and I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and grind that. I've already set up my grinder here, and I only have to grind just a little bit. Yep, still not quite. Oh. Yep, that's it. That's all I needed to do right there. So that one's in. That one's in. That one's in. Two of them are 19s, and the third one's a 17. But you know what? This was cheap. It was 80 bucks. Oops. For 80 bucks, I can do a little grinding. All right. Okay, so then we're going to put the nut on. Tighten it down. Then we can put the top together. All right, so there's the hole. There we go. There's the powder key. So on this one here, everything went fairly simple. Everything's in, ready to go. I'll torque it once I get the other side done, and then with that said, I'm on my way to the other side to do the other side.